So welcome back to stage one here at the Off-Road Motorsport Zone at 4x4 Expo. We've all seen the media coverage, the drone shots, the stunning photography, and we've all seen the cars in full battle cry, that deep snarling rumble, the explosive rolling starts, when the ground shakes with the power of 20,000 horses racing for the best line, battling for the podium in one of the most brutal disciplines that is Ultra 4. I'd like to introduce the man behind this supremely competitive arm of off-road, Richard Crossland, and joining us is the man on the ground who creates the competitive Thunderdome that pits crews and cars against each other and all the forces of resistance he can expertly bring into play, international course designer Chris Bowler, and your host, Diana.
Thank you, chaps. Excellent. Well, listen, first of all, before we go any further, I have got to thank you, Richard, Dave Robson and the crew, who braved the weather to bring the very gorgeous Ultra 4 unit to the zone. Really, really appreciated, believe me. And really what we want to do, as Gordon just said there, you create the Thunderdome that is, the courses and everything. But this is one fearsome battle. It's the only way you can describe Ultra 4. You hear the words brutal many a time. It's hardcore. Richard Crossland, what is Ultra 4?
Oh, my word. You're asking me what Ultra 4 is? It's something different to everybody. This is the problem. You can't just say it's this. Everybody you ask will have a different meaning for the word Ultra 4 and what we do, and it means something different to them. But you've got to remember, it all comes back to that little race that we do out in California called King of the Hammers. That little, it's only a small little race. That, in a nutshell, is the essence of what we do. It's about that mixture and combination of fast, flat racing, and then the rough stuff. So it's not trialing, it's not comp safari, it's not rock crawling, as the Americans would like to call it. It's a mixture of everything, and that's why we are different to everybody else. We throw everything in at it.
And to watch it is absolutely incredible. And that sound, especially when you do those rolling starts, we're talking about it being the thunder, it really is. Chris Bowler, international course designer. We'll go into classes in a moment. All hail. We'll go into classes in a minute because what I want to figure out is how on earth you set out a course, because you do have a good variety of classes. How do you even begin to set out a course to cater for all of these crews? And then we'll come into the different classes so we can break that down even further.
It's quite a good question, actually, because trying to design a course for 7 different classes, 4 different sizes of tyres, cars that are not, strictly speaking, designed to mix with the bigger classes, as we call them, the 4400, I think you've got to sort of start with a backbone of a course, and then you look at the ground and you decide, right, well, I'm going to divide the course at a certain point to push certain vehicles one way or another. But ultimately, I'm trying to give everybody a fair crack of the whip. So the course itself is the course, and it's only at certain places that you might pull the UTVs off one way, or you might pull the 4400s off into an obstacle that looks like it's going to give them some entertainment. So it is really a question of reading the ground that you've got and appreciating the number of cars in each class, but it is one race course, and they are all in principle driving that same course. It is difficult.
So, look, we hear these numbers being thrown about, 4400s, 4600s. Who's going to break the classes down for us and give us an idea of what you could, who could get involved? We've got some of the cars over there. We've got the glorious Ryan Dunn's little Jimny. And and this is your idea, Richard, it was brilliant, to bring in Key Dunlop's Jimny right beside it. Both opposite ends of the spectrum, both done by real, they're on their own. They haven't got huge budgets, but they're both seriously competitive. But they're different classes completely. So use those 2 cars maybe as a kind of example to break those classes down.
Yes, you're dead right. They are completely different classes. You look at Ryan's car over there, the little Suzuki. It's a stock class car. You could have a 90, you could have anything you wanted, Cherokees, whatever. You could have whatever you wanted, but you can turn up on a budget and race with cars that are worth £200,000-300,000, and still be on the same course. Not doing the same exact course, because we take the 44s off on different routes and put them into the real hard stuff, but invariably 90% of it is the same. And then you're racing with everybody, and everybody's in there, you know, and you've got that as your starting point. And you can do that for literally, if you look at the Beresford brothers from Chesterfield, you know, they first came to us and they spent less than £2,000 on a vehicle. But they had the best fun I've ever seen any two people have in any race I've been to. You know, up at Curtin, if you remember, Chris, it was crazy, you know, and they got the bug. You move up stages, we do a modified class, you know, so then you're starting to, I could do with better suspension, I could do with better steering, I could do with better axles, I could do better this. You can start doing all of that, you know, but keeping within your cost, keeping within your budget. Legends class, that is invariably meant for just the old 4400 cars. So you've had a 4400 top spec car like the others, well, what is meant to be a Suzuki. If that's a Suzuki, I'm a Dutchman. But the reality is they're no longer at the front edge of competition. You know, they're still very good cars, so they can drop down into the Legends class, but they should have competed in the 4400s first. You know, that's what they should have done. And then you've got the big class, unlimited. Bring what you like. You know, bring what you like, do what you like, let's have at it. And there's been some weird and wonderful ideas over the years as to what a 4400 should be. You know, but invariably you're looking at big V8 engine, you know, big axles, big tyres, massive suspension, and the boys just go at it. Don't forget, we're adding new classes for Europe. We have the Winch Challenge class. You know, well, we all know what a Winch Challenge vehicle is, so if you know what one of those is, they can race. And then you've got Comp Safari and UTV. Again, amalgamating those two together, it means anybody in Europe can come and race with us.
I love it. One thing I keep meaning to say, and I must mention actually, if you're watching live on Roku or on Off-Road Worldwide TV, thank you so much for joining us. We've got loads more to go this afternoon, so stay with us. Anybody at the show who doesn't want to watch it live, you can, as I say, Roku or Off-Road Worldwide TV. That's where you'll find us going live. So, and explaining beautifully the world of the art, the dark force that is Ultra 4, and Ultra 4 Europe in particular. We've seen it grow great. It's an incredible event to watch, and I think one of the ones that really does get the hairs on the back of the neck, the goosebumps, it's those rolling starts. Chris, as the course designer, when you see those vehicles go off the line, what do you feel? What goes through you?
It's an incredible thing to watch, it really is. Curtin is where we've got the real estate to do a rolling start, because obviously you need quite a bit of real estate to be able to have anything between 15 and 30 cars all crossing the start line within about a 25-second window. So obviously you've got to have a holding area to be able to get everybody into their race position, because they've earned their place at the front of the queue or the back of the queue. You have to be able to bring those vehicles down onto the dead area before the start line. Invariably they're in 2x2, so two columns, and then you have to be able to teach the drivers how to creep forward towards the start line. And I suppose in all good racing tradition, you've got to be able to cross the start line before you can go, and getting the cars to understand that is quite a difficult thing, because I don't think there's any other off-road discipline that uses a rolling start. So we've got quite a few guys within the core team who know how to get everybody lined up. And then from my perspective, I'm out on the course itself, and I watch the rolling start from a distance, and you see the rolling start first, because obviously they're 700-800 meters away, and then 5 or 10 seconds later you hear the rolling start, because literally as each pair of cars crosses the line, they're on the gas. But literally bumper to bumper behind them is the next pair and the next pair and the next pair. So if you've got, say, 20, 25 cars all crossing the line, it's about a 10 or 15 second window in which they all empty onto the course. And as I say, watching it from a distance, you see the rolling start, you see the dust, and then you hear the rolling start. It is quite fascinating.
And then if you're anywhere near, you then feel the rolling start, but it goes right through your soul, doesn't it? Yeah. Richard, you must be so proud when you see that.
Proud? I wouldn't say proud. It's certainly interesting. It's like herding cats, you know. Yeah, try and explain to a driver that's at times when he puts a helmet on, let's say, logically challenged, you know, the helmet's down, the visor's down, and they're racing, what the format's going to be has been a challenge. But they love it. They absolutely love it. And it's something we should do more of. You know, I mean, Chris has mentioned last year, you know, we should do like a old Le Mans style start where the cars are on one side, the drivers on the other, and they've got to run across and get in and go. You know, why not? Why not?
I'll tell you, I'd pay to see. I'll tell you now, I'd pay to see that. But it is. Now, the other thing, the other side of it, and this is the thing that I find really interesting, and actually it's great fun. Your whole crew. It's not just about the drivers and the service crews. It's not just about the organisers and course builders. You have one incredible core team, and you have this wonderful safety net of marshals, and that's something within this sport. To get into off-road motorsport, you don't have to be competitive. You don't have to go and buy a competitive car. You can get in and come and join a crew like you, and you still feel that real bond, that real togetherness, don't you? Talk to us a little bit about the marshalling side of it, how people can get involved in that.
My core team, with which this man's the top of the tree of, they are beyond. They're the best team on the planet. I would go anywhere with them, there's certain people I wouldn't. But anyway, definitely they are the best team on the planet. The work they achieve, to have so few people achieve what we achieve, race after race after race, is amazing. And the good thing is now we're getting more and more people approach us and want to come on board and just want to get involved, want to get into it, and they just come, they're part of the family. You know, we make them feel welcome, they do their work, they all chip in, and it's amazing. And it's open to anybody. Anybody can come and marshal. We don't demand you've got full reflective gear on or anything like that. You know, you'll get given a vest and other things, but come and be part of it. Come and see what it's about. It's different. It's not what you're used to, you know, in terms of the old UK style events.
What you said is us lot, is that what you say?
Yes, us old people that are used to the old style events, yes. Yeah. Come and have a go, you know, come and have a look, come and join it, because you'll find that it is very, very different, very open, very exciting, and it's very frenetic at times.
It's a really good way of describing it, actually. And off-road motorsport goes back decades, and Chris, you've been part of an awful lot of it, like myself, you've competed in various disciplines, tried all sorts of different things. It's a joy to see new ideas coming forward and building and giving people a different chance in a different arena. And I think that's the thing with off-road motorsport 2022. The world's your oyster, isn't it? It's a superb open field out there.
Absolutely, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's giving people the opportunity, and you know, Ultra 4 Europe isn't trying to sell to comp safari drivers or to hill rally drivers. Ours is a better discipline. What we're trying to do is to make our rules and regulations compliant enough to allow different vehicles, and because we've got different classes. You know, I mean, we were talking about the 4400 class earlier on. Well, at Hammers this year, a UTV came 10th overall in the 4400 class race. So somebody can turn up with a UTV, they have a complete, you know, blank piece of paper in terms of what they want to do that vehicle to do, but it's in the 4400 class. And therefore, in theory, you can build and design a vehicle in any shape you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 40-inch Trepidor V8 powered motor. It can be a UTV, it can be a Defender, and at the end of the day you're competing at the level that you want to compete at, rather than maybe in other forms of motorsport where the constraints are a little bit more narrowing, and that doesn't make that bad. It just means that happens to be the formats and so on. And I think from an Ultra 4 Europe perspective, giving people more of a choice, I'd like to hope allows them to develop the way they want to go in their motorsport. And I mean, I'm booked to do the Hill Rally this year. I'm going to do a couple of comp safaris. But that doesn't mean I'm turning away from one kind of motorsport. I just look at my vehicle and go, well, how can I make it do that? And I'd like to think that would be the proviso that a lot of drivers see the opportunity and go, well, I'll have a go at that. And if it doesn't fit what they want to do, that's not a problem. We just want to be able to bring what is the widest opportunities to everybody.
That's absolutely beautifully put, Chris, and that's the key to it, I think, isn't it? One of the classes has been growing really, really fast, of course, side by sides. We've got young Hemi Smith over there, who's going to be on stage a bit later on. We've got Guy Smith, again, he's decades in off-road motorsport, now trying this again, a very different thing for him coming in, against Can-Am version kind of things, GSR racing. So it's really good to see that we've got the next generation coming in, and they're coming straight to you as well. It's lovely. But that side-by-sides class, that side of it is really growing, isn't it?
Very much so. And I mean, that's been seen in America. The UTV race is the biggest in terms of numbers. UTVs are a relatively logistically friendly vehicle to move around. You don't need so much space. I'm not saying they're the cheapest at the end of the market, but they're certainly an easy thing to do. And I would welcome, as many UTV drivers coming to us as in the same way as the 4400 cars.
And it's great, again, to see the younger crews come in as well. We've got, I think, Ryan Dunn's up on stage a bit later on as well. Great family crew. But there is a real young, lively part of it coming in really strong, isn't there?
Again, of course it is. We're getting more and more young people doing it. I mean, look at Hemi Smith, not even 16 yet. And she's racing with us, as she said last night, she's a better driver than her dad already. And we know Guy's raced since the 70s, so it is what it is, there's talent there. But it's great to see people like that coming through. Ryan was probably let's be honest, Ryan Dunn, when he was a young guy with the little tiny Suzuki in there and what have you, they've been racing with us forever, and I forget how old he's got now. I always look at him as like the young guy that turned up all fresh-faced and really loving it. And that family have been amazing. And they were like the forefront of the youngsters coming through. And now you're getting more and more like Hemi and people. It's amazing. It's great to see.
It's really good. We had Ellie Coxon earlier on as well, and we've got Amelia Leach from Harper Adams. Harper Adams doing a great job, so we'll be talking to a couple of their crews later. It's a real joy to see that the sport itself has got that baseline. We're not just disappearing with it. There's a lot of young people coming in, and it is down to the fact that we are offering so many different disciplines, and Ultra 4 is right up there amongst them as well. So what have you got on offer for 2022?
Go on, mate.
All sorts.
Well, we've got rounds in UK. We start the season off in Curtin, rolling starts, heat-based race. Rolling starts. We then move on to June when we go across to Europe. We're going to France. Quite a small site, also a heat-based race. Not so much the rolling starts, but it's a very rocky, tough course. It's not a fast course, but it's a very tough course. And again, because of the terrain we've got, we're going to have to split the starts into different classes, sometimes amalgamated classes, sometimes classes on their own, again, depending on the numbers. Later on at the end of July, beginning of August, we're at Walters. Walters has been our traditional home from the history of King of the Valleys. Walters is very much an endurance race. We're looking at a different couple of ideas for the prologue. Instead of necessarily a prologue, we're looking at possibly the idea of a period of time, a bit like Formula One, where they get an opportunity to put in some set lap times rather than necessarily a single attempt at a lap. But again, ideas that we're still looking at. We then go back to Europe in September, where we're planning on going to Poland again, to the Oshina motor circuit. This is very much mirroring sort of not so much the Dakar side of life, but very much an endurance race. Two different kinds of disciplines, the faster field sections, and then back into the woods. Again, the experience to go to Poland, I cannot stress hard enough just how much of an amazing place Poland is to go and race. And then we are then also at the beginning of October going to be going back to an old favourite that we've used in the past of King of Portugal, which for some drivers is the absolute heaven. That is the place. It's I've never actually been myself, but the dinosaur eggs, the terrain that's out there, the weather, really is probably the closest you can get to King of the Hammers in terms of a comparable site. And then we finalise our series down in Bovington at the end of October, where we will be racing again an endurance style race. I had the opportunity last year to reverse the course halfway through the event. So on the Saturday they raced the course in a clockwise direction, on the Sunday on an anti-clockwise direction. Bovington, from my point of view, is literally a pop-up race course. We arrive, unlike any other race, we arrive at Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. and we start racing by 7. It takes us 2 hours to literally produce a race course. It is nuts. Working with the Ministry of Defence isn't the easiest thing in the world, but I think we managed to sort it out last year. The terrain, because we have so little time to set up, it means that we can actually plan to change the course round halfway through. So we almost lay the course out ready to swap it over. And that will obviously be the culmination of the season.
That's quite off the top of your head as well. Brilliant, well done. Superb, isn't it?
That's why he's here. I won't remember this. That's why he's here.
I love it. So it took me by surprise, and I'm so busy thinking of all these events and everything. And one of the things I've been thinking, actually, while you were talking there was, we just look at the images now, and one thing that Ultra 4 really does, Ultra 4 Europe particularly, brings to the party, the imagery is superb. It's just beyond. And so when you can't get out to those events, for those of us watching back home, we follow so avidly because you can feel the atmosphere, you can feel the pain, you can actually feel people tearing their souls and finding another soul to get to that finish. It's quite extraordinary to watch. But one thing that really has come to the fore recently in off-road, and particularly with Ultra 4 Europe, Paolo Baraldi, all these names of photographers, all the camera work and everything, the drones, all this stuff, it's quite beautiful, isn't it? And that's where this really has got an edge. On Facebook, on any social media, it's really appealing, isn't it?
It's the way to go. You know, people can't travel, and I remember going with family to watch the Lombard RAC in various different sections around the country, you know, in forests, and they go boom, past and done. You know, I remember doing that. We used to go physically to events, whereas now, let's be honest, you see, especially anybody under 30, if they haven't got a phone plastered to their hand at some point for 23 hours a day, you know, there's something wrong. So it's all about the media coverage. And whether that be in still photography, like Paolo and Nick and people do for us, or as we're moving into live streaming and from drones and camera footage that way, you know, that's the way to go. Drone costs have come down, they're now all interconnectable, and we can beam all these different images up and create basically a TV program.
What I love is actually the names of the media crews. I know we've got Thomas Zalewski. He's sent us some media footage through as well from some of the challenge events we've got. There's so many people involved in it. Nicholas Stephen, real top quality photographers involved in off-road at the moment. And that's really changing things hugely because people are beginning to see it and think, oh, God, I really, look at that. I really want to do that. Are you finding people coming into it, Chris, and coming and talking to you and say, well, look, I've seen it on Facebook. What is it? How do I even get into it?
Yeah, people are obviously intrigued to seeing it. I mean, and when you see a vehicle in the question of that one in the case there, you know, you think, well, how on earth did he get to there? Well, of course, the photographer that took that picture, you know, it knows how that vehicle's going to behave and so on. And clearly, it must be firing the enthusiasm of people that come into it and think, actually, I fancy having a go at that. You know, the photographers we have, we're very, very lucky with certainly the guys that have been to other forms of motorsport, and they seem to be coming back to us, you know, and seeing us and wanting to show what we do. Absolutely.
I think it's wonderful, and I think it's what's doing our sport a huge amount of good is the amount of social media coverage that it's getting, and the imagery, like I say, absolutely. Look at this. I mean, you can feel it. You can actually feel it, can't you? It's tough, and that's the one thing I wanted to just go through with you, Richard, because we hear all these words. You know, when we hear Drew on mic commentating and everything, it's like gnarly, and it's really brutal, and it's really tough, and it's like they're ripping. It's incredible. If you wanted to give it a go, right? So you got your car and you're thinking, oh my goodness, it looks absolutely fearsome. What would your words of encouragement be to people who fancy having a go, but maybe a little bit fearful, sort of looking at it thinking, oh, a bit of jeopardy there, not sure about that. You know, you look at Ryan Dunn there, there's a starting point right there. What would you say to people to say, give it a go?
You know what? People may be nervous about it, but the thing what they'll do is first, they'll get put in a pit position. And either side of them will be people that have raced before. And invariably, if it's a new piece of metal, it's like anything. It's like having nosy neighbours. They will come and have a look. And then they'll start talking to you. And straight away, you start feeling like you're part of the family. You know, I've seen lots of new teams come along over, 10 years of racing. And always happens. So straight away, that first few hours, that first day and overnight, you know, before prologues and before racing begins, you've already met people. You've already got those nerves going, and they'll come over and they'll give you a chat, and you'll have a drink with them and what have you. So all that goes. It's not like you'll just turn up, go straight onto prologue and race. That doesn't happen. So the nerves go straight away, you know, and then when it actually comes up to doing it, just put your big boy pants on and get going. You know, and you will love it. You know, that's as easy as it is.
One of the things that I loved seeing was, especially in your stock class, what a class that is building up into, isn't it? And seeing Kim Salmons come out with her car last year, you know, there's Shavs with the big guns and the huge thing. And Kimmy comes out and she brings out the stock class, has an absolute ball, never done it before, gives it a go, has an absolute ball. And I think that's where you get this lovely starting point when you see people coming into it like that and just having a go, just have a go. Cheap car, did it on a real budget, and it was great fun and did really well too.
Well, that's the beauty of having these different classes, you see, because you can concentrate on your class, and it may not be anywhere near as competitive as, say, some of the other vehicles, but you're at your level, and you know who your competitors are. You know the other 5 guys in the class or 7 guys in the class, and so your race is between your class. You don't need to worry about the fact that you've been overtaken by a 4400 class car or a UTV, because technically they're not in your class. So your race has been honed down to your little purpose-built gang of guys. And very much something that I think is incredible with Ultra 4, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen in the other disciplines, but you can have 2 cars racing in the same class, and one of them breaks, and the other guy who's probably ahead of him says, well, actually, I've got a spare diff back in the van. Put the def in, and a number of times I've heard this, I don't want to beat you in the pits, I want to beat you on the race course. And that has become more and more of a key thing, which we want to encourage, because it isn't about, oh, he's blown a diff, I've won. It's about, I want to beat him on the race course, not with that. And again, the stock class is my favourite class of all of them. It is literally the ability to go, right, I may not have as competitive a vehicle as some of the other classes, but I'm in my own little battle with the other guys in my class. And that's very important, especially as a beginner.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think battle's the right word. It does become this thing, but it's that's your group then. Although you battle with them, they're yours. That's your team. That's your gang. That's your tribe, isn't it?
Exactly.
And that's what I think it brings in really strongly.
Experiences. And when it comes to the next race, they're that much more prepared because they've got a gang. They probably keep in touch with each other on social media between races, you know. And not everybody can attend every event. Obviously, we appreciate that, but they build up friendship, they build up camaraderie, and also they build up a competitive attitude on the race course.
And that in itself then goes on to build up the class, because when you see people having a ball, whatever class it is, side by side, whether it's stocks, whatever, and they see a group there and they're having an absolute ball out there on course and back in the pits as well. How are you doing? I'm doing okay. Tough, isn't it? Are you finding that bit hard? Really, really hard. Yeah. And then other people say, well, actually, they're having a really good laugh and they're serious competition. But they don't have, I'd like to be part of that group, and that's when you find your little niche where you want to go into. And you know, one thing we ought to mention is that when you do get some of the other cars, you'll have little bypasses, things like that. So there, if when you see some of these, I'm just thinking some of these rock-strewn gullies might just throw a few people out. But when it's a really serious bit like that, occasionally there will be a bypass.
Of course there is. I mean, I should really let Chris talk about this one, shouldn't he? You know, he designs the courses.
No, you do it.
Oh, thank you very much.
You do it.
You're going to test me now, aren't you? Bugger. Right. The reality of that is Chris will design a course to cope for every single vehicle competing. And then that spine of the course is drivable. And then the bypasses where you'll pull off different classes of vehicle, whether it be the winch sections or whether it be like the 4400s or whatever, they will go into another section, which is a lot harder, you know, and go through that, then come back onto the main course again. And that's how it works. So no one's going to get put off by big rocks or winching. A lot of the time you don't have to do it. Predominantly the course is always drivable. It's going to be difficult, but it's drivable.
It's not there to be easy, is it? That's the point. You're challenging yourself. You're challenging your own, you know, how much determination you've got, your skill and your car and your vehicle design, build, whatever. The whole thing is there. And, you know, when you've got your co-driver with you as well, that's another bit of it that becomes so integral, becomes so bonding. You've got to be pretty close, pretty tight, especially when you're on that winch. You need to know each other, don't you, Chris?
No, absolutely. And that is actually quite an important thing, because it's easy to jump in a car and go, well, I'm the best in the world, but your co-driver is literally your link to the outside world, so to speak. And you know, cars do get snarled up on the easier parts of the course, or even if they've got a technical problem, a puncture or a prop shaft needs to be changed. You know, you're working as a team together. I've watched some crews where the co-driver has spent probably more time out of the vehicle than he has in the vehicle, purely because that particular obstacle, there's no point both of you sat looking through the windscreen wondering which way to go. The co-driver gets out, he's guiding him, they're talking to each other, and it's teamwork. It's what it's all about.
I just think it's absolutely wonderful. So we're looking forward to a really good year this year, good season. 2022, it's going to be good, isn't it?
Absolutely. We are looking forward to seeing people come and join us, you know, and we hope that all the events are as successful as they should be.
Excellent. Now, before we go, there's another subject that we need to look at, because for many people, if you watched Off-Road Worldwide earlier on last year, you'll know that we went off air for a few weeks. And this is something that I want to bring Richard in on very much before we go. And we have talked about this, and it's something we all feel really needs to be talked about, because within off-road, we've lost some really good friends. And Richard and I were talking last year, and we were on Off-Road Worldwide. Two of our crew, myself and Bruce, we lost a family member, a very close family member, took his own life. Likewise, Dave Marsh. And when he phoned me up and said his little brother was gone, I couldn't believe it. I spoke to Richard. Richard and I, we had a very deep conversation about it. We talked a lot about it. And I said, I don't know what we do. I don't know what we do. This is so bad. There were 7 people I knew, and you knew as many again. Now, we all knew something had to be done, and I wanted to bring this in because I know last year was a very hard year for a lot of people. And Richard, you were right up there with you. But you didn't just talk about it, you actually took the weight and you did something with it. You not only talked about it, you talked about it openly. Tell me how you approached this, because it hit you quite hard as well.
Yes, I think we could start by saying I'd like to forget 2021, in all honesty. Not the best of years. However, last year, like we spoke about, you know, there's a lot of mental health problems. There's a lot of pressure in the world now, and it seems to be the older generation that are feeling it more than the younger. And whether that's because you've been brought up, oh, get up, it doesn't hurt, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that, and you bottle everything up or whatever, that could be the case. But it's just life in general. It's just getting harder, you know, and I think COVID didn't help anybody. A lot of people struggled with that, you know, well, I worked all the way through it, but a lot of people struggled with it, and that isolation doesn't help. But then the reality is we do need to talk more to people. We do need to understand and look at, you know, and see that people are struggling. And the next phase of what we did, you know, I know the video went out this week, and that was just me being honest about how, you know, last year treated me, to be fair. And I'm in a much different place now, but it's only because I reached out and got that help that I'm there now, you know, in terms of that place I'm in now. You know, I'm in a much better place with all of that. And that's the main point of it. You know, this just needs to help 1 or 2 people, and then it's been worthwhile doing.
It's been quite incredible, and we've seen it go to where, with Heads to Mind, of course, Liz Anderson, you sat and talked to her, as I say, talked very, very openly about it. And within the sport, the one thing we do have, as we've said throughout this, there's a wonderful bond, whether it's Ultra, whether it's the Hill Rally Cruise, and, you know, it's all the tribes, but then we all come together. It's one giant family, really, isn't it? Yeah. And that's, I think, the key thing to remember. And what came out of your video, that's been airing, as I say, on Off-Road Worldwide, it's been on Heads to Minds as well. What came out of that is that there are people to talk to within the sport. There are plenty of people to talk to. It's just having the strength to know, and just the confidence to know that if you talk to somebody, they will listen. They will listen. And that's what we need to get across, I think.
No, exactly. I do not believe for 1 minute that there aren't people out there, you know, whether you know somebody or not. Like I said in the video, anybody can call me any time of the day or night. I don't mind. I'll speak to them. Just because sometimes it's just having a conversation with somebody that helps, you know, and it starts that process, and that might be the little trigger that stops something else happening. And it doesn't mean you have to be speaking to, you know, a qualified therapist or anything like that. And to be honest, I thought the same thing. Oh no, not going near one of them. Oh no. You know what? It's not that bad. It's actually quite cathartic, to be fair. And the reality is, our family of off-roaders, you know, I do not believe I couldn't speak to any one of them if need be, and they would give me an ear, or they'd try and help, or they'd listen. You know, and that's how I truly believe, no matter who it is.
What I think was so poignant is, I think, to be fair, forgive me for this, but you're quite a scary character sometimes, Richard. I'll just say that.
No.
You know, and you know, you initially you think maybe not so approachable, and I think that's one of the key things for me is coming from you. You know, somebody who you look so confident, so all together, so you've got life absolutely by the scruff of the neck, and you know, it will do what. To hear from you that actually things aren't always sunshine and roses, but actually there is a way to deal with it, I think is probably more poignant for an awful lot of people.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say to that, to be honest with you, but yes, no, I don't have the reputation of being Mr. Happy Friendly, you know, let's all go dancing down the street or whatever. That's not me at all.
You never go for a group hug after this,
exactly,
do you?
Exactly. You know, whereas my focus has always been on getting a great event out there, getting it on time, hitting the numbers, and making sure things are right. But the truth is there, you know, everybody, and I was lucky enough to realise I wasn't in a good place. So I went and sought some help.
Well, I think I've watched the videos. It's been quite incredible to watch. And,
yeah, I've not watched it.
Yeah, I know you won't. I know, but we have. And for myself and Bruce especially, it was really good to watch. Actually, it just make you know that you aren't alone. But this is what I say about the sport. And Chris, you know, all the people in it, you've known for decades. And even when you don't think you can talk about something, you just have to believe you can, and just go and have that first word, isn't it?
I agree. And all right, to quote sort of phrases of you don't know how bad it is until you do realise that you've got a problem. And it is all about talking to somebody. And that problem could be something to do with a race car. It could be something to do at home. It's taking your mind off the ball of what you're trying to do. And people that know you will probably pick up on that before you do. And it's the good person that says, are you all right? As opposed to the person when, oh, he's obviously thinking about someone else. And it is, it's a human nature thing to be able to realise that, yeah, maybe somebody isn't quite as on their ball as they normally would be. And motorsport is a very, very good way of showing whether somebody's on the ball. And you'd like to hope that your fellow competitor would say, he's not his normal chirpy self, what's going on? Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely what it's all about. Richard, I think it was an incredibly brave thing to do, a very strong thing to do, actually. And I thank you, and I'm sure an awful lot of... And I know there's a few people out there that it's affected in a very, very good way. So we all thank you for doing that.
There's no thanks needed for that at all. As I say, it just needs to help one person. If that gives one person the ability to speak to the right people and not do something silly, then it's been worthwhile.
Perfect, excellent. So Ultra 4 Europe then, looking great. The whole team, all looking great, all sat out there, fantastic stuff. So anybody who's thinking, I want to give it a go, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, darn me, that's tough. But actually, I want to give it a crack. You're over there with that beautiful unit. Come and have a chat.
Anybody can come over and have a chat with us. I mean, 2022 is the 10th year of Ultra 4 being in Europe. Yep. So it's a special year. You know, we've managed to keep going for 10 years. We've got some amazing races planned. We're going to shake up the formats a little bit, you know, just keep it interesting and just keep changing things like we always have done. You know, not so there is something different there. It's going to be amazing. And
Chris Bowler, of course, for you, what would be the words you'd say to somebody if they said, I want to give it a go, not sure, shall I try it, shan't I? What would be your words of encouragement to give Ultra 4 Europe a go this year?
I think, to be perfectly honest, it's a question of, you know, we are doing something that seems ultra, seems extreme, but that doesn't mean that it's not something that they can't achieve. And as Richard said, you know, come and join us. There are crews that have been first-timers before who will welcome them with open arms. We're not there to break the car. We're there for you to find the limit of what your car can do and what you as a driver can do. It's not banger racing. It's about pushing somebody and their machine to a limit that they feel, wow, I didn't think I could do that. That, to me, is what it's all about.